We've integrated a number of interface-based feature enhancements into the Vectorworks 2014 software. While seemingly small changes on their own, they add up quickly to a noticeable savings in time and effort. Throughout the application, there are a multitude of locations where you can select or modify a class or layer, either for an object or as a default setting. In previous versions, you needed to back out of these locations and add a new class through organization or navigation. Now, you have the ability to select a class or layer nearly everywhere. You can also create a new one quickly. This interface item can be seen in a number of dialog boxes and contextual menus across Vectorworks 2014. Rotated Top Plan View is now maintained as one of the standard views, making it much easier to return to that rotated view quickly. Not only that, but the different standard views will now respond relative to the plan rotation. For example, if you rotate the plan 45 degrees, switching to the front view will now show the expected front of the drawing because it takes its plan rotation into account. When changing the opacity of an object in the Attributes palette, you can simply click the Preview button, which will instantly show the opacity change on screen before closing this dialog box. Click OK to confirm, or click Cancel to revert to the previous opacity. Now, when you create a floating datum via the shortcut G key on your keyboard, the floating data bar will appear automatically, making it clear that any moves or data entry will be performed relative to this newly created datum rather than to the actual X and Y coordinates of the location at which you created it. The Format Text dialog box now shows an active preview of font and size changes made to the text. In addition, this box can be resized, showing you your desired changes before returning to the document. Unlike objects such as doors or windows that have a fixed height and width, which only apply to specific measurements on them, rectangles, rounded rectangles, and ovals have a height and width based solely on the object's position on your screen. Instead of an object's width suddenly becoming its measurement from top to bottom after rotating it 90 degrees, Vectorworks will now properly reapply the labels, taking the object's rotation into account. As you can see here, this is the same rectangle in various degrees of rotation. As we pass the 45-degree mark, Vectorworks will now report the correct dimensions for both height and width, rather than locking the H and W values simply according to how the object looked when it was initially created. In addition to adding a graphical preview for leader line alignment to the dialog box to make it more clear what's being changed, you can also align your nodes without moving the shoulder points. Finally, the tape measure tool is now capable of returning accurate, scale-based measurements for objects inside sheet layer viewports. On a sheet layer that includes a viewport, clicking on 2 points within that viewport will now give a measurement based on that viewport's scale, all without having to return to the design layer. These changes were added based on your feedback and your wishes. Combined, they make your experience better while providing the freedom and flexibility you desire from the tools you use regularly in your design process.